Welcome to Flesh and Pod, a flesh and blood podcast breaking down weekly news and notes from the tournament scene, community drama, game strategy, and more. And now, here are your hosts, Abby, Jordan, and Logan.
Hello, and welcome to episode 47 of Flesh and Pod. My name is Abby, and I am your host. With me, as always, are Logan and Jordan. We have a lot to cover, so we're just going to get started. Logan, what did you do in Flesh and Blood this week?
I had a chili 4-way.
You did?
I did that.
I witnessed it.
It's delicious, obviously.
You've had one before,
four-way.
Correct?
Yeah. I knew I liked 4-ways. It's been a while since I had a 4-way.
Sure.
So it was something, that I hadn't experienced in a while, and so that was good. And that was us giving our seats away to people for the Super Armory so they could play, and we could go have a 4-way with John Patty. Played. I wouldn't call what I did in the Battle Hardened playing. I went 0-2 and then cube drafted. I would call what we did in the team sealed playing, because we yet again made the top 4, but yet again came up short with friend of the podcast, Dagan White, Jordan, and myself. So I did, and there was this weird event I was at in Ohio where people were wearing weird costumes and ripping crew first and drinking booze all night. And then there's some real hazy spots after that. So maybe we can help fill those in. Jordan, what did you get up to?
Yeah. Similar, almost the exact same.
Almost identical?
Almost identical. Except I just played a different role. That's really it, to be honest. Friday night registered for the Blitz event and didn't intend to not play, and then ended up there was 2 guys. One was from Cincinnati and his buddy was from out of town, from Jersey or something, and they were both on the wait list, and then one of them got onto the off of the wait list into the tournament, and so they were playing rock paper scissors for who would take it, and that just felt really bad to watch happen. And hey, the event filled up. Props, by the way, to be on the board for filling that event, making it great. What they did in conjunction with the Realm was fun, but it just was you could tell they were disappointed at having to choose. So a bunch of us were giving seats away to people that came in from out of town to play the tournament, and let them do that. So that was very fun to do. The guy that I gave my seat to actually was very nice. He found that I already paid after I tried to play it off like I didn't. And he ended up buying me a gift card to that store because he knows I was a local, and that store was local to me. So he bought me a gift card that was really nice. Not necessary, but it was really just kind. People were very nice there. Saturday, again, like you, I registered for the Battle Hardened and I submitted a deck list, and I proceeded to donate life points to my opponent and Elo. I gave away some Elo. That being said, my Elo will not take that big of a hit. My first round opponent was Matt Muse, who ended up top 4 in the event. Who's quite a good Canadian. Very kind. Enjoyable match and a half. That I just got rolled. No complaints really. We decided that after 0-2, it would just better value to cube. So we ran around and did some errands, and we cubed.
We attempted to get Alex from LSS to get his phone to work.
That was a trip. Yeah,
that was not happening. He experienced American customer service at its finest, and that was amazing to listen to him. What the fuck?
Oh my god, they hit him with it'll work in an hour if it doesn't call us back, which was
nope. That is not true
They're not
at all.
calling you back, bud.
You are. It is not going to work. They're not calling you back. That thing is a fucking brick. Yeah, sorry, buddy. You just got America.
Yeah, right. And, that was funny.
Now that I think of it, my losses were to Charles Dunn in round 1.
Sure.
And then Ryan Rich. Yeah, then Ryan Rich, who top-aided. I think he might also top 4.
He won the last Battle Hardened. So
yeah. And it was my round 2 loss. It's not my day.
Yeah, we kind of ran into the meat saw. Thing I didn't mention, and Abby will go into more of this when she does her bit. Friday we helped set up, which was really fun. I took a half day from work, and people came in, and we helped like set up the venue, which was really kind of cool to do. And like, I've never really interacted with like venue staff before, so that was kind of a different experience, and all the things that go into it from like their side. And I believe like the head of the venue's name was Heidi. That's like the head of like that committee or whatever that does that, and she was really fun to interact with and like kind of just pick her brain about like. Because typically this place was a wedding venue, as far as I understand.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And again, like I'll leave all that to Abby, but it was funny to hear them talk about the differences between like a wedding party and a bunch of nerds that wanted to play cards the whole time. So Sunday we played the team sealed, came in third. That was
Excuse me?
Abby's giving me a face right now.
Excuse me?
We were seated second, and we got eliminated in the top four.
The semifinals. Yeah.
And the other team that got eliminated in the top four had a lower starting seed than us. So we came in third.
Mm-hmm. Do you happen to have your envelope?
No, you have it.
I have my team's envelope, and it says third on it. Mine says third, so I just want to clarify.
I think you might have ours, but I guess it's a distinction without a difference. You can have your day. I think
Dagan has yours, actually, Abby. Dagan has yours, and you have ours. But so we came in third, fourth, T3 tied for third, fourth in the team sealed, which truthfully I think was a disappointing result for us, if I'm honest. Like I think our decks were better than last time. I think as a team we played worse. I know that I played worse. That has a lot to do with that party that happened after the Battle Hardened.
Yeah.
I think like in general,
I played better.
Oh, I think so. Okay, yeah, that's fair. I'll speak for myself. I think Dagan played the same. Dagan is always solid. You played better. I played worse, and I think it was a net worse. That's
weird because we were all 5-2. Like every single one of us was 5-2.
Yeah. During Swiss was sub 50% on remembering to put a Phoenix Flame in my graveyard as the 5-player.
Yeah, there's that.
I won all of those games. So, who needs a text box on their hero? That's what I always say.
Why bother?
Yeah. I guess that's a good point. I guess maybe my characterization of play level is unfair. I don't know if I think that. I guess I just feel disappointed with the result, and I think that was shared among the three of us.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Okay. Yeah. We expected to kind of win.
I agree.
Yeah. Obviously we would have ran into the buzzsaw of like Travis McDaniel backed by Michael Hamilton in the finals. But I think like when you have a guy like Dagan on your team, the FI decks play themselves, and then like it comes down to your A player in a lot of those matchups. And I just trust Dagan a lot. Now, granted, Michael Hamilton is the literal GOAT, so we're definitely not favored. Like,
wasn't Travis the middle seat though?
Mm-hmm.
Was he? Abby played them,
yeah. Because Dagan loves playing Travis. Like historically, loves playing Travis.
Oh, gotcha. So I would have played Michael.
Yes.
Okay. So yeah. Anyway, I think Vegas would give us the points, right?
Yeah, absolutely. We were not favored.
I think that like we expected to win. I felt like we could have won when we won our top 8 match. We said, man, it was kind of funny because like Abby was playing Brendan Patrick's team, and I'll let her talk about that bit. But we lost to them in the finals last time, and we were saying, you know what? There's not really a bad result for us in this round because either A, my wife advances and that's cool, or B, we get to do our revenge tour against like the Michael Fang, right? Brendan Patrick, Yanji team, and we were like, I forget how competitive Dagan White is. Okay, he's quiet, right? Like he doesn't talk a lot unless you ask him questions like that. He's a quiet guy, and then every once in a while you see this just like the killer side of him.
Yeah, Dagan Black comes out.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. So we're sitting there like talking about, oh, hey, the revenge tour would be cool, and I was like, man, I didn't know I wanted that until right now. He goes, I've wanted it all fucking weekend. It's like, holy shit. Like, okay, yeah. And I just forget because like he's quiet, right? Like you and I are loud. We dominate the conversation when the three of us are together, and you forget that he's thinking of this is a loud person problem that we all like. If you know a loud person, we all suffer from this. We forget that the quiet people have a thought process, like because we're just like talking, like he's a fucking killer, and this is why he's so good at the game, and this is why like he can bounce back from an 0-1 start to a Battle Hardened and come in 10th or 11th. The guy's just a stud. So it was that was very fun. Saturday night at 7 p.m. until 7 a.m.
Let's save that for another segment because we have a lot to go on that one.
Yeah. Abby, what about your week ended in Flesh and Blood? I guess. Yeah, tell us. A lot happened from your side of the table.
So before we get into the weekend, I just want to lay some information for people. Jordan and I actually played Flesh and Blood during the week last week. So even if we didn't have the event, I still had things to talk about.
Oh, true.
You could spread that out, like over a couple weeks.
Well, I'm not going to do anything until next year now. So
you can be sure, yeah.
So Friday, like Jordan said, we went to the venue early. I took the day off work, which was amazing until I went into work on Monday, but that's fine. We helped set up. Then we had went over to be on the board. I was registered, paid, fully expecting to sit down and play. However, my brother and his friend brought a third friend, and it was his first event, and he was waitlisted. And so I pulled him in line with me, and I was like, "Hi, I want you to play. I can play with most of the people here
whenever you want,
whenever I would like to, and this is your first event, so I want you to have that." So he got to play. He was also playing 5, so I was like, well, it's basically like I'm here. He had a good time. Saturday, unlike the other two, I did not play. Not that anyone expected me to play in a classic constructed event. But I actually helped be a tournament organizer. So it was Jacob from the Realm and I. If you didn't know who I was, but I was at the event, I was the crazy lady in a green polo running around like a chicken with her head cut off. But I had an absolute blast. It was chaos, and I have never been more tired. I literally had like 30,000 steps that day, but I had so much fun. Obviously, Jordan and I have a lot of interaction with everybody from the realm because, it's here, so we see them probably at least once a month. But it was really cool to get to work with them. Had an absolute blast. I told them I'd do it every event they ever have, as long as they would have me. So hopefully I will get to do that again because I loved it. And then on Sunday, I also played in the team sealed. I was drafted by Chris W. and May, which are a couple of Ohio people, and I was thrilled to play. I love sealed, and so I was stoked. My only requirement was that I could play Fi, because that's, kind of like my whole deal. Went 6-1 in the tournament. The team made it to the semifinals. We lost to the team of Travis and Michael. But it was awesome. I had a blast. I am not a great player. I would hear, people talk about like my match would finish, and then, the teams would be talking about the other matches, and they would be talking about all of these things that I would never even think about. I'm just like, oh, hi, like, I'll play this card and pitch this card. And like, they're talking about like, well, if we do this, these are the possible cards. And I'm like, I pitch a blue card and play a bunch of red cards. And that's what I do.
Yep.
So it was great. May was our middle person, and she was amazing. Every time I needed something, I would be like, hey, question. She was super helpful.
She came in 9th at the Battle Hardened, by the way. Shout out to
she had a fun run.
Yeah. Amazing. Absolutely amazing. It was in the semifinals. I was playing my only mirror match, and so, my opponent's coming in, and I, tap her and I go, hey, I have a question. And she goes, what's up? And I go, I just like take this, right? Like, let me show you all of the things I have. I just eat this. Like, if it's not lethal, I'm not. And she goes, yeah, absolutely, don't do anything. And I just see my opponent go, oh.
Oh no.
Okay.
I'm in danger.
But yeah, so I played. My first round we won because the team was not full because they were still commentating. But I played Chris just so we could get matches in. I played one mirror match and every other match
I
I
believe
had.
Chris had a top 16 at the Battle Hardened too, right? Sorry to cut you off, Ab.
Yeah.
Just to throw shout-outs as they happen. Yeah, like Ohio people did very well this weekend.
Yes.
Not as well as Canadians, but Ohio people did very well. Anyway, sorry.
No. But they are both very, very good. But so I played one mirror match and then every other match I played was against Icelander. So I was pumped. I was definitely bummed that we didn't make it to the finals because I absolutely wanted to make it to the finals and show up these two, but you know.
Yeah.
It is what it is.
People crack me up because people kept saying, man, it would have been really sweet if you and Abby had made it to the finals and faced one another. And I think people don't understand. Listen, Abby and I may be among the most competitive people that you've ever met in your life. I, for whatever reason, have dodged the bug to like drive to compete in Fab. But like when I play, it's very much to win. I really don't understand the concept of casually playing games. It misses me, right? Abby is very similar. That despite the memes we do on the show about her not like carrying or not playing a lot or whatever, she very much wants to win when we play. Very similar of like playing games for fun is sort of silly. Which you can agree or disagree with that, whatever. You know, different strokes for different folks, I guess. It would have been a problem for us, for our team to play at the final of this championship. Especially, I know how competitive Abby is. I know how competitive her teammates in May and Chris are. Chris has been a friend of mine for a very long time. We've known each other from our Magic days. Both very competitive in that scene. May is very good at Fab. We're newer friends, but I know how competitive she is. I just talked about how Dagan would kill his own mother for points. You know, and I know,
sister, maybe.
Okay, fair. Okay, and I know how competitive Logan is, and I know how badly we wanted to win this tournament after coming in second last time. This would have been a problem for us.
Yeah,
everyone on those two teams knows each other very well. It would have been like the winner was going to talk shit till the loser dies or divorces them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, so I don't know, Logan. Did you heard a lot of that chatter, right? About how fun would that have been? The Flesh and Pod battle, like
no. That would have been so. And I can. So couple of things. One, I'm gonna just as a side thing. I want to compliment Abby on a number of things, but the biggest one being, holy fuck, were you just a godsend during the event. Anytime anybody needed anything, it was like Abby materialized out of thin air and was like, what the fuck? How did she get here? And she was like, who needs what? Okay, I'm on it. And gone. It was like, what just happened? But that was the entire day. And she was just like everything head on and crushing it the entire time. And then we head into play and you're spot on. Now, I think that there is a possibility that if it would have been a Flesh and Pod finals, that it would have been, we will never record another episode of this podcast again.
Oh my God. I blacked out that we played in Swiss.
We did.
That was our loss in Swiss, right?
Yes.
And but it was also
why I blocked out. Chris kicked my ass.
But it was Abby's loss.
It was
it
was my only loss on the day.
Yeah, Chris beat the brakes off of me in Swiss. I remember that. Yeah.
And then May played us really well. Now, again, here's props to May. People might not know this. I doubt people know this, but May's first sanctioned, like, has rating attached to it match, so competitive match, I should say, of Flesh and Blood was against Michael Hamilton. May won that match. So
I didn't know that.
Yes, because I sat and watched it. And I watched May make decisions that I wouldn't have made that won her that game. And then she was like, oh yeah, it was my first, everything ends. And she's like, oh yeah, that was my first match. It felt pretty good. And I'm like, oh, first match with Briar? No, just first. And I'm like, okay, that's the, she's going to be real good real soon.
Terrifying, right?
Yeah, that's fucking terrifying. So I am not surprised to see her have a great weekend. And the match between her and Dagon was nail-bitingly close, where decision points were minor decisions swung that match. And that was, okay, we took that L because they outplayed us. I thought I left myself dead to Abby. I 100% thought I left myself dead to Abby, but the alternative for me was to be dead the next turn. And so I decided, because Abby had pitched a rapid reflex. Now, listen, team, people, there is nobody that loves a rapid reflex more than Abigail Kennedy. Not a fucking person on this fucking planet. So when she pitched it, I'm like, that means that there's a second one.
She has another one, 100%.
I'm just fucking dead. Because what it came down to, there's a resource floating, card in arsenal, a take the tempo, no go again. I'm at 5. And I pitch my only red and go, well, 1 take 4? And she's like, yep. I'm like, oh fuck. Oh god.
Oh fuck, okay.
Hold me. Oh shit. I got away with that. And that was the end of that match. And the amount of, upset's the wrong word, but just kind of pissed that you were that the match ended that way. I'm like, I cannot play her again and win. If I do, the podcast is done.
Mm-hmm.
We are over. Because holy shit, like that was, I don't see you competitive that often. But when it happens, I'm reminded, oh, she's one of us.
Mm-hmm.
Where these little things matter and she just wants to fucking win.
Yeah. Well, and to be fair, in Flesh and Blood, in like 90% of the time, I'm not competitive, because if I lose, I lose. But being on a team, if I lose, I'm hurting the other two. So it was very much a like mental prep to myself. You need to win every single game you play.
Mm-hmm.
No stop. So yeah.
My advice is put Dagon on your team. You don't have to think about it.
Yeah. Or they have a May. So
they have a May. Like it's like we have a Hulk. Okay, we have a thing. Like
so like here's the rub, right? Like they have a May versus Dagon, right? I probably take Dagon in a vacuum, but like it's close, right? They have Chris versus you. I probably take Chris in a vacuum, but it's close.
And Chris versus you.
No, Chris versus you.
I was gonna say Abby and I.
Oh, sure.
Oh.
Yeah. Comparison's sake, not head to head. Okay.
Right. Sorry, I'm doing like tiers, right? Of like who plays the most and stuff, and like and then there's like Abby and I, who in a vacuum might take me, but like historically that hasn't played out that way. So, that matchup is very, very close. And the cool thing about team events is you can take your loss and still win the match, right? And all of us on our team anyway, we each lost a game where our team won, and that feels really good to like you just breathe out. And the one thing that I think our team does very well is we don't talk about individual records at all. It doesn't come up.
I came up at dinner because we were talking about it just like randomly, like how many did I lose today? How many? Because we weren't keeping track.
Yeah, it doesn't come up, and there's a lot of teams that'll go, like, oh, we're 0-3, but I'm 3-0, and it's like, well, that's you sound like a shitty teammate,
Yeah.
Like nobody I know said that that I can remember, but you hear that chatter throughout the, you hear the tournament, murmur, and you still have 0 match points, right? Like you're 0-3, your last. Okay, cool. Like, it's way more enjoyable when you experience those wins and losses as a team. Like, when we lost, like, for example, in the finals last time, I was gutted. I beat a player way better than me twice that day in Brendan, and thinks about the game on a higher tier than I do. I appreciate your look, but I don't think it's true. I appreciate the out though. Logan gave me an encouraging look. Of I don't know if
I think the difference. I think the difference there is mostly time invested, and not necessarily skill cap. Because I played a lot of different games with you, and when you have the time investment, you're really fucking good at it.
No, sure. I guess I'm just talking about in the practical sense.
Sure.
Of like where we were at in that moment. Yeah, and like, so I could in those moments be very like, hey, well, I beat this guy that's like better than me. But like it doesn't even feel good to do that from my seat, right? Because like my 2 teammates just said that they individually lost, and then we lost as a team. And that's the way it goes, like in a Super Bowl, You don't want to be Patrick Mahomes. It's like, well, I threw the ball really well, but my offensive linemen fucking suck. Like that's not, nobody likes that guy, right? So like, and it's not fun to be, and everybody needs to pick up every once in a while too. So, like in the last tournament where we ran really well, I lost round 1. That was the only one I lost. That was the only one Logan won, and that was all we needed, right? And like, it just works out, and it happens to be that I get to do it with good friends anyway. But I had a blast, man,
and super hungover.
Yeah. Oh my god. So,
oh my god.
So here's my story, my judge call from this weekend, and let me just Sunday was a bit of a mess. Okay, I was a tired boy. All right. I have a judge call where I have an on-hit effect, and my opponent is letting me keep life. Like, a nice guy. I think this was just a communication error for what it's worth, but my opponent like didn't have a notepad or dice or anything, so he's like, "Hey, can you just like keep life?" And so and I was being really clear, and he blocks like a 5 attack with a 2 block, and I'm like, "Yep, take 3," and he's like, "Yep," and I flip over the card that for the trigger, and he goes, "I'm gonna quell before that happens," and I was like, "What?" And so we call a judge, and basically I called the judge. He was cool to like not. I called a judge because I didn't want him to not get something he was entitled to. Like, maybe I rushed him. I don't know. But the judge comes over and is like, "What happened?" And I was like, "Well, we agreed to damage. He quelled. I flipped the card over. And in my tired / haze, I forgot to like say we also agreed to a life total change, which like would fundamentally, like, because the judge was like, "Yeah, he gets to quell and you get your on hit trigger because you still dealt damage." And my brain was like, took too long to like process the fact that I needed to say, "Well, wait, we already agreed to the life total change." Like, the whole reason I called the judge in the first place. So the judge was sort of like, "What are we? Damages a replacement effect. It happens that he gets to decide. What are we talking about here?" And I was like, "Yeah, I don't know. What are we talking about?" And I was like, "I'm really sorry." And I spent like 4 minutes apologizing to everybody. But in reality, I was like, "Wait, we agreed to a life total change. That means we've passed the window for quelling, So, like if I say, "Hey, take 3, you go to 17 or whatever," and they go, "Yup, we can't quell anymore." But my brain was too slow. And who knows, in this moment, I could be misremembering because I don't know if the tape was still running yet or not. Who knows? So, like, this weekend was great. Patty won a cube draft.
Mm-hmm.
He got to sign a cube
Dory
card.
wins your cube a lot.
I think she's X and O across every type of cube, whether it's 6-man, 8-man, sealed, whatever. I think she's X and O.
Yeah.
It is a legitimate thing we need to talk about at some point. And it would be nice if we got to cut her because she is the most problematic with all the different types of weapons and stuff. But that's a different conversation for a different day. But Patty won with Dory, who is now X and O, I think, lifetime.
Living legend has to happen.
Yep.
Oh God, dude, I don't know. That's such a hassle from like the generic
you
include and stuff.
It.
I'm not that into cube design, so like I have it as like a novelty.
But maybe you should be.
Maybe.
Have you ever considered that you should be?
Maybe I'm like one of 5 people that cube in this game, so like a lot, or that has like a custom cube. A lot of people have like a set cube. What were you gonna say?
I would say no. You're one of 5 people that has curated a cube.
Sure. That's what I mean.
I play the fuck out of cube. God damn it.
That's fair. A lot, and when I say curate a cube, I mean not a set cube. A lot of people will like make like a Welcome to Wraith cube or Tales of Aria cube. Mm-hmm. I think those are cubes. Like, don't get me wrong, but I don't know if I consider them a cube for the purposes of like my historical. Yeah, right. Like cubes across formats, across time. Like if I want a Welcome to Wraith experience, I'll probably just buy a box of Welcome to Wraith. But I also understand some people want to maybe smooth out the edges that Welcome to Wraith has. So anyway,
you can tell we were on one this weekend when we have a 30-minute intro and Abby hasn't moved us along yet.
I haven't. I still have a thing to say. So.
Oh gosh, yeah. Go ahead. No, I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, my last call out from the weekend, and I'm not going to dox them because we are known to do that. But
this is we shit.
I haven't done it.
I know who's done
it. So, my brother's friends. It's technically his brother-in-law, but we'll just say friend because it's easier.
Well, we've doxed Caleb. We're referring to Caleb's brother-in-law, right?
Okay.
Yeah, Caleb's Yeah, you can find Caleb's
Anyway.
address in the show notes. Yeah.
So he is who I gave up my seat to on Friday. It was his first event that he played. He played the Win a
Ever, right?
VIP. Yes, ever. First like real event. He played the Win a VIP Blitz tournament and top forward. Which is just like
it's just there's some good players in there too. Yeah.
I kept I talked to him, and then they did the cut to top 8 and he made it, and I was like, oh sweet. And then I like was running around, and then I came back around and there were 4 people left and he was still in it, and I was like, oh my god. So love that for you. Keep playing. I know he bought some boxes this weekend too, so
yeah, I heard he bought 3 or 4 boxes of different sets to like crack and like draft and stuff.
You gotta get them addicted early. Like, you gotta get it in their veins, man. Little taste. Give them a taste.
Also, super side note, there were a bunch of possum shirts there this weekend, and chef's kiss, love it.
Hell yeah.
So keep that up.
Dagan White wearing his on Friday was gasoline.
Dagan White wore his. Kevin Breyer wore his. Josh Levy had like 8 different ones. I am here for it.
Where the fuck does that dude shop for possum shirts at? Like, how do you find that many fucking possum shirts?
I'm in a Discord with a bunch of Columbus guys for testing stuff, and there's a whole channel dedicated to like possum merch.
Gotta be fucking okay.
I love every second of it. Okay,
it's one of us.
Are we good to move on? We're good to move on.
Yeah, let's talk about the actual tournament.
All right, so
there was a tournament
with all of that. Yeah, there was actually.
I'm so sorry. Please hold. I mentioned before the show that I had a bone to pick with both of you. And
do you now?
I need to do that now. In addition to all of the nonsense that we've just described to you, 30 minutes of just like telling you how good of a time we had.
Scratching the surface, honestly.
Yeah, right. Like, there's going to be some Factor Darks eventually that like go into some deep dives. Like,
did you know they celebrate Christmas in New Zealand?
Did I? Who did that? Who said
that was me.
Oh,
I'm a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Believe it or not, they also heard about that Jesus fella.
Is he white over there too?
I don't know. I think he has the same refractory period, though.
Well, all right.
Move on.
In addition to all of the nonsense, there was a cosplay contest. Okay, there were 3 like actual contestants in the cosplay tournament, and it was a 2K or 1K, excuse me.
1K.
$1,000 given out to the top 3. So everybody that entered cashed. Okay. Everyone that entered got money. I can't complain about that. My 2 co-hosts, dear listener, Logan and Abby, as well as Elaine Hammondtree from Twitter and Pickle fame.
And Pitch Perfect Podcast.
And Pitch Perfect Podcast, excuse me, thank you. Were the judges. Okay. For our entries, we had Dagan, who went as like Dark Bravo. We had Rhodey, who went as what's the name of it? What's the moniker?
It is Fab Father.
Okay.
AKA the Battle Bishop, DBA the Party Priest.
Okay. He looks fantastic. And I don't know her name. And it's Ethan Van Sant's girlfriend. Sandra, excuse me. Okay. I was like, yeah, referring to her as another person's girlfriend is not acceptable. So I'm glad that I didn't get to meet her, but she went as Ghostly Touch, the legendary from Uprising. Let me give you, dear listener, the rubric for the cosplay contest. The theme was called Wraith Heroes Go to Halloween. And now, before I go into the rubric, I need you, dear listener, to be aware that I respect the arts. That in a vacuum, I agree that Ghostly Touch was the best cosplay. Okay? By a considerable margin. Right? Like, it was well done. It had makeup. It had an excellent wardrobe.
Props were great.
I mean, like, Sandra looked fantastic. Okay? That being said, I am a big Dagan White stan. And I have the theme was Wraith Heroes Go to Halloween. Of the 3, of Father Fab, aka the Bishop, Father Lord Christ,
you
DBA,
not sully the legend that is fucking Rhodey.
DBA, the trucker Rhodey.
It's like a Tribe Called Quest. You got to say the whole thing, and you got to say it right.
Yeah. Go ahead.
It is the Fab Father, aka the Battle Bishop,
Okay.
DBA,
Yeah.
the Party Priest.
What set did they print that fucking hero in?
I'm pretty sure
Uh-huh.
it's coming in Dynasty.
Wow. Okay. Crazy. I'll be waiting for that spoiler. Yeah. And Ghostly Touch is also not a Wraith hero. Bravo, however, is a Wraith hero, and he went to Halloween dressed as a dark version of himself. Here's the rubric, dear listener, on how our cosplay contestants were to be graded. How recognizable is the Wraith hero? Well, there was only one Wraith hero, so we can say who should have won that category. Brother Dagon White.
And they did. Can confirm
And
they
they
won
did.
that category.
How complex is the cosplay to make? Now, this I agree. I agree that Sandra's cosplay was immaculate. 10 out of 10, S tier. Again, in a vacuum, the best one. If this were a general pound for pound heavyweight title, you know, like we're trying to find out the best cosplay in the building, no question. No question. How successful is the theme's interpretation? The theme, again, dear listener, lest you forget, Wraith heroes go to Halloween. Again, only one Wraith hero. He plays the B seat on Team Flesh and Pod. You know his name. How creative is the contestant submission? Honest to God, Brody takes the fucking cake here. no arguments here. But that being said, again, in a vacuum, it's very hard to argue against. It's very hard to argue against Sandra. Cosplay is fucking insane. How much does the judge like the cosplay? I like the subjective twist in the rubric. That being said, I expect our judges, dear listener, to follow the theme. How can one like a thing that is off theme? Now, this is the weakest part of my argument.
No, you motherfucker.
I fully recognize that. I fully recognize that.
Nope. You told us what you thought that meant. You said, and for this category, you throw for your fucking friend. Those were your exact. I have integrity, sir.
Well, true.
I have integrity.
One should throw for their friends.
And I am going to take what is the thing I like the most. In this case, that Ghostly Touch cosplay, as you fucking admitted, as you said, your
it was
goddamn
the best
self.
One. It's the best one. S tier for sure. So, okay, let's stipulate that two of the categories, how complex and how much the judge likes the cosplay, goes to Sandra. Okay. How creative is the contestant submission, goes to Rhodey. Okay.
However, second place in that submission is, even if you think that Rhodey wins that one, which we can have a discussion on, I'm with you. But second place for that still goes to Sandra.
So I almost disagree, only to the extent that
you throw for your friends. I get it.
No. Is that she went as Ghostly Touch? She did a very good Ghostly Touch.
Oh, did you not notice the headstones that had the living legend characters
I
on them?
Didn't notice that. Did that?
Yes.
That's fucking
yes.
real,
yes.
Actually. Okay. Dagon, why didn't you make this easier for me? My biggest gripe was that there was only one on theme. I liked all of them had a Halloween vibe. Don't get me wrong. Like Ghostly Touch is a Halloween card, and she looked Halloweeny, and like again in a vacuum, like S tier, 10 out of 10, the best one. I'm mostly giving them a hard time because we stand Dagon White in this house, and he is the only one that did the theme. That being said, Dagon still cashed every event that happened this weekend. He cashed the Battle Hardened, he cashed the Team Sealed, and he cashed the cosplay. So how bad can life be?
And then he was also in the Alpha Draft. So
and he also got the Alpha Draft. Yeah. So how bad could it really have been? And
his life is
this is
rough,
all
this
is all in jest, right? Like Sandra's cosplay was insane and like absolutely deserved to win. And I hope she does more stuff because it was so good.
It was great. Yeah, absolutely.
The best part was like I kind of just thought of her as like a I didn't see the hands for the Ghostly Touch, and kind of was just like, oh, so she's like this, like, she's like maybe from Monarch, like a darker side character in Monarch, and then someone goes, no, look at her hands. I was like, holy shit, that's crazy. So good. 10 out of 10. And then knowing about the Living Legends heroes on the Cemetery Stones, incredible.
Yes. Now that was the advent of Dagon Black, though, and rumor has it that Dagon Black can win on day 2. So we're gonna find out if Dagon Black's 2 brain cells can actually carry him in Worlds in a couple weeks.
We're gonna find out. Yeah. But that was it. I'm just joking to you two. to Elaine, and then of course like to Sandra. Like, congratulations, it was nuts. I don't want anybody to take this the wrong way.
At some point in time, there's going to be a fat, like we have enough content. I think now to brew up a FAP After Dark, because the Elaine driving here story and then taking Flake and Charmer back to the hotel is one of the funniest things you'll ever hear in your fucking life.
Oh yeah, there was just so many, and this is one of the things when we talk about you've got to come to these events if you're like over on the fence. Every event meet people that I've never met before that I then am like friends with for probably my life, right? And just like the nonsense that happens over the course of it, I regularly say that the Flesh and Blood is actually the worst fucking part of these tournaments, because like it's the vibes are really crazy. You know, it's, hey, where are we going next? What is the next thing we're going to do constantly the whole weekend? And it's so much fun. And then you have the Bartrams who are literally, they will bend over backwards to make the experience great.
The goats.
Yep.
They're absolute goons, man. They'll do whatever it takes to make sure you're having a good time.
There was a spot where Jacob understood that there was a ton of people on Sunday morning that were fucking on one the night before. And he was rounding them up and going, "Are you okay?" And if they said anything other than "I am totally fine," he was dragging them into the stream room and laying them down for naps.
Yeah.
So that they could be humans.
His dad's side did come out that morning. That was pretty cute.
You were one of them. So,
well, I did take a nap in the stream room. It was nice. But it was a good weekend, and people were generally like very kind. So, anyway, I see that Abby has pressed the button and is shepherding us on. So
it's been 43 minutes, I guess. So, yeah.
All right. Yes. Fair. So now we're going to talk about the actual Battle Hardened that happened.
Sure.
All right. So there were 136 players.
Fuck yeah, there were.
Top 8 consisted of 2 Phi, a Dramai, an Azalea, a Viserai, 2 Oldhim, and a Briar.
Did you say the A word?
The A word.
I want to be clear. The A word made it to the top 4.
There were 3 Azaleas in this tournament.
Yes, but there was only one. So we coined a term in Iowa a long time ago, and this came from a WTR draft of dumpster insert in a hero's name. And it means playing that hero, but like playing that hero very tangentially. So come from dumpster Dory, because in WTR draft, it was draft all the generics, and then eventually you have to pick a fucking hero. And so I was like, I guess I'll play Dory. And we just started calling it dumpster Dory. So whenever that happens, we call it dumpster insert name. This was dumpster Azalea, because E-Strike, Ravenous Rabble, other shit like that. And it's just like, okay, this was not combo Azalea. This was dumpster Azalea, and was brilliant.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know there were a couple of Azalea team kills throughout the weekend.
There were.
So I would have liked to have seen what would have happened if they didn't have to play each other and knock each other out.
There's a portion right here I want to go away.
Yeah, but it's close. I think it's close. I think the new bow is going to help. I think they'll get extra support that will help.
Mm-hmm.
So, but again, we continue to see a diverse meta. Phi, Dromai, Azalea, Viz, Oldhim, Briar, 6 of your top 8 are different heroes. It's funny because Logan and I had a similar conclusion on Saturday about how this is the most diverse meta of any card game we've ever played, and there's no deck that I like.
Yeah, and both of us fucking hate it.
Yeah, and that's weird, isn't it? Like, I like Phi enough. I like Viz enough. I think I would like Oldhim. I just don't.
Yeah.
Are we just old and we've realized our role in the community is to like talk? We're Joe Buck and like not, Tom Brady. Is that what?
Jesus Christ. Maybe for me personally, I feel like, so I'm going to say this and it's going to sound fucking absurd because it is. I was pretty good at Starvo, but it also doesn't take much more than flipping some cards sometimes to win with Starvo.
Yeah, same. That was my thing. Is it required very little investment for what you got out of it.
And I got okay at the times where it wasn't doing its thing and winning some of those games.
Sure.
I also, with the previous iterations of Oldhim in this meta, I was pretty good with. I was actually decent. And outside of just being able to wrap my head around how to just play ultra defensively, because that's not my mindset. I played Warrior in World of Warcraft. I did not tank. We went in and swung. Like everybody's like, can you off tank? I'm like, I don't even own tanking gear, motherfucker. No,
what's a shield? Leave me alone.
We cut people.
Sure.
And so that's, I mean, and so that's, I like attacking. I like putting people to the question in games. And I'm very bad at blocking, which is sometimes beneficial in playing this game. So I guess I've been playing, like when I've been playing Viz lately, it's made some sense because you do block, but you only need 2 cards to be operable. And it's just making sure that you have the 2 cards to be operable. And so that's been okay. And that's been training me up a little bit. But I don't think it's because we're old. Well, I mean, I am old, but I don't think it's because we're kind of the get off our lawn, we're content creators and we're not capable of playing this game. I think it's largely because we're just not finding something to associate ourselves with that makes sense with the way that we orient our brains around games. And that doesn't mean there isn't something out there. It doesn't mean that doesn't get something in Dynasty that helps how we feel about it or adjusts our thinking enough to be more competitive again. It just means that right now we look at this, go, this meta is awesome and this is fucking trash. And both things can be true for us. But for the general public, I think it's this meta is awesome because you can pretty much try to play any deck and be successful if you spend enough time with it.
Yeah, that's fair. You know, and I was watching some Goliath Gauntlet earlier today, and I was like, man, this game is so entertaining to watch. Like, I'm excited for Worlds. I'll probably go back and watch the Realms Brawl coverage. The act of like putting cards in a sleeve and going to a tournament or playing on Talishard sounds exhausting. Now, that being said, I had a blast playing Limited Sunday.
Oh, I always.
You know, it helped that I won every die roll. So who could be sad when you just get to mow people down? I didn't lose one. You know what? I lost one, but we didn't need to roll the dice because my opponent made the opposite decision than I would have. So yeah, it was one of those, like, he was like, you know, I'll go first, and I was like, brother. So
you got a deal.
We didn't need to roll dice. I could have just offered. Yeah. So anyway, I just think that was a funny moment we shared this weekend, and then seeing this meta like reinforce that. Basically, kids, Cube, it's good for you.
It's great for you.
In addition to that, there is a new article on the Flesh and Blood website. It's the cosplay corner. It was put together by Carolina at Bitchy Velour on Twitter. She
Uzi Squirt, as you may know.
Uzi Squirt. Carolina Alvarado.
She won the cosplay contest at Pro Tour New Jersey. She had the Exude Confidence.
Mm-hmm.
So she put together an article kind of going over, like, there's a lot to cosplay, and like, here are, like, I think she did 5 things of like, this is, you know, these are 5 important things that you're going to want to do. So take a look at it. We'll obviously link it in the show notes so that you can read through it. Because her cosplays are very good. So
my takeaways from reading that article were cosplay is very hard and very mentally taxing, and Carolina needs to feed her fucking cat.
There you
go. I like the self-awareness that Carolina shows in this article, where she goes, a lot of you may know me from Pro Tour New Jersey, where I cosplayed as Exude Confidence. Some may also know me from the depths of Fab Twitter, where I am a menace to society. And I love a lady with some self-awareness. She is indeed a menace to society. There's a lot of good stuff in here, honestly, if you've ever like thought of the cosplay scene or just interested in what goes into it. Also, don't touch cosplayers without asking. Like,
yes.
That shit's
Why
weird.
do people fucking do that?
It's weird.
I think so. Okay, not to defend, but to explain, I think the mindset, if you don't get, I know you rolled your eyes, that's a weird thing to say. I think there's a weird thing in people's head with like the parasocial relationship we have with actors and characters and like media in general. So you don't see, and this is just from people's immaturity and idiocy more than anything, but they literally don't see like a Carolina Alvarado. They see Exude Confidence or they see Dorinthia, and that isn't real, right? So their brain, and being kind of slow, bifurcates the people from the art, and then goes, well, this isn't real, so like the consequences of my actions aren't real, without realizing that the gratification they get from that is because the person's real. Like, they're dumb and idiotic, right? But I think there's a weird parasocial relationship thing going on. Like, stop it. Like, just stop. Like,
I'm very glad that you explained that to me, because I didn't understand that part of it. But I'm also
Yeah.
very glad that I didn't understand that part of it, because it never makes fucking
Sure.
sense to touch somebody without their consent to
Yeah,
touch them.
yeah.
Right.
This is very much one of those things where it's like there is a literal, like a psychological reason, but it's not. It's not good enough to like explain it to have like. It's not like Jeffrey Dahmer, but akin to the idea of like there's a reason these things happened, but that doesn't mean we forgive it, right? Like if you're ever like why, there's a legitimate answer to the why. It's just like, but it doesn't matter. Like, you know, ultimately don't touch people. And if you're not mature enough to know that like Carolina is literally not exude confidence, and that's actually just like this little bozo from Twitter. And I say that with all the love in the world, because I love Carolina more than, you know, I should. She's the best. She is a true menace to society.
And sobriety.
And all right. She's a good FaceTime when you're at a party at 2 a.m. I'll tell you that.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, she was generous with her time on Saturday.
All I heard was "fuck you, Logan" come out of the speaker, and that was all I heard.
yeah, she's a gem. But like that's the big thing. Don't touch your cosplayers. If you're not mature enough to like separate them, or to like, you know, realize that like these are real human beings, then like you're just like probably not mature enough to go to these events.
Seek professional help.
Yeah, right. Like just stop touching people that that you know you don't ask. Like I do the hover hand. Be Keanu Reeves.
Keanu Reeves is a
hover
fucking
hand.
gem.
Yeah, do the hover hand. Like don't touch people. That's it. Anyway, I hope that didn't come across as like a my answer to you didn't come across as like a, well, you got to understand their perspective. Like I don't mean it like that. I mean like when someone goes, why do people act like that? Like that's why parasocial relationships are disgusting. You know, that's why.
There you go.
I'm glad I'm not from the internet.
Yeah. Anyway, all that to say, go read the article. It's very good. We have 4 listener questions this week. The first one is from May. Is there such a thing as a Fab/TCG pro player, or is that a dream, or is the dream of becoming a professional player in a TCG mostly dead? What would determine someone being a pro player in a TCG versus a competitive enthusiast, successful grinder, spike, etc.?
Real quick, clarify this question. Abby, do you know what a spike is?
No idea.
Back in the earlier days of Magic, they released an article, WotC, of a variety of different types of card players. There was Timmy, who enjoyed like I think Timmy was the big green monsters one. Logan,
Timmy the power gamer. Yep.
Yeah, there was like Timmy just enjoyed big splashy creatures, attack you for $1 billion, right? There was, what was the combo one? Johnny, is it a Johnny?
Johnny combo player.
Johnny combo player, yeah. And so Johnny was he likes combo decks and setting up pieces and doing a bunch of stuff in one turn. And the series of these articles was to explain how like basically there's a lot of different types of people play these games, right? And one of them was Spike, and Spike is a very serious hardcore player. He plays to win. Dagon White is a Spike, right? Like we have spikish mentalities when we do play, even though we're probably more Johnnies and Timmys than we would like to, you know, like to admit. So basically, when you hear Spike, and the reason I directed this at you, Abby, is I know you don't have the history of TCGs, and a lot of our listeners don't either. When someone says, "Well, I'm very spiky," or "I'm trying to spike this event," it typically refers to like I'm very competitive. I'm treating this seriously. That's my primary motive behind this. So
Gotcha.
Yeah. But Logan, I guess, do you want to start on what you think about whether there is a Fab Pro player and whether that dream is dead, or how you bifurcate all these different titles?
As of the asking of this question, the dream is dead. It actually had a very short shelf life. Most people that made a living playing these games, and that was their full-time job, made most of their money not playing the game, but by talking about the game through articles or whatnot. That space of paid content seems to have gone down with the more advent of unpaid content. People like us who just talk shit. But people who are good at the game talking shit too. So, well, not talking shit. They actually talk like real things.
Yeah.
versus us, where we just kind of spout off at our fucking mouths. Well, Abby doesn't. Abby actually talks about real things, but
That's right.
you can listen to the Manor podcast to get that, and it costs you nothing. You can throw some Patreon dollars around to show appreciation, but that doesn't pay bills for everybody. There are some people, and I think it shows with people like your Matt DeMarcos of the world, where content is what they do, that they have to spend more time within content than playing the game professionally to generate a living. Like I don't think there's any way that Matt could play the game professionally and generate content and make enough money to survive. I think that is dead. I also think that a company like LSS is going to understand that the best way to build their game, especially early, we have to remember that Flesh and Blood is an infant fucking game. It's still it can't feed itself yet, as far as an analogy to a baby goes.
Right.
It is very, very young, especially in the competitive play side. So we need to always keep that in mind. And I think that LSS would be remiss if they weren't looking at the players who always perform well and seeing if there's a way or if it makes sense to hire them rather than have them continue to play in these tournaments, because I think that's where we're at. That was how Magic did it early. They hired people who were winning consistently to develop the game. So as of right now, and Magic, fuck Magic. Being a professional Magic player is absolutely dead as of right now. And I don't know if it'll ever come back or not. I can't say that. I am not Nostradamus. But if you're going to ask me, I think that they're shifting their gear more and more and more and more toward the casual player who just likes, who likes what they like. They like to spend money on Warhammer decks and not necessarily on competitive singles at an LGS, although Wizards basically sell singles now. So there's a lot of that cut down that happens when you shift your game to that, where you shift your game from being something for a competitive group of people to being something for the casual base that is more about a corporate interest of making a profit. And you're a company. You're a company in capitalism. You should be trying to make money if you are a capitalistic company. I understand how that works. I just hate it. So I think that from the question as constructed, that dream is currently dead, and I don't really see a great avenue anytime soon for it to not be.
No, I don't disagree with you that. Yeah, I think you alluded to it, if not hit directly on it, that the definition of pro is really what we need to focus on. Like you said, if you mean you go to all of the tournaments and the money you make from that is how you pay for your life, not happening.
No.
Now James White was asked this question at the first Pro Tour. He said, "Hey, do you think that you can make?" And for anybody that's on Cat Watch for the podcast, she just threw up in the corner and is now licking my leg. So that's how this is going. It's fucking disgusting, to be honest. So Abby, I need your help clean up cat vomit later. I don't do cat vomit. That's kind of my
busy.
boundary.
Sorry.
Yeah, doing something at the moment.
It's also in the you just know where that is.
That's right.
Good, fair enough. I do think that there is enough space in Flesh and Blood for full-time content. Not a lot of people, but I do think, and whether those people have multi-jobs, like Matt runs a media conglomerate. Matt runs a media,
Franchise?
a media outlet. Yeah, he has a media outlet as well as is a commentator, a contracted commentator, right? So or you see someone I don't know, other people in different industries, man. That is a very common thing as well. You have your people that do your commentary for Overwatch or for the GSL in Korea. They also do YouTube channels and things like that, and stream on Twitch and
your Doas of the world.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, that is a very popular avenue to go as well. But I think the idea of being like Magic used to have a pro tour. I don't know if licenses. What did they used to call it? Gold, silver,
platinum.
What was that called?
The Pro Players Club.
Pro Players Club. Okay, they had a Pro Players Club where based on your rank, you would get like an appearance fee for going to Grand Prix and stuff. And at a certain point, if you were high enough on the chain, in that club, you basically your flight and hotel would be covered by your appearance fee. And so it was a free roll for you to go. And then so any money you made was it was positive. So events became positive EV, whereas a car tournament is strictly negative EV. They're awful unless you're Michael Hamilton. They're not good for making money. You will lose money over the course of your life, right? Unless you're, like a top echelon player. So that's my take as well, that like the world is evolving into a digital world, where it's easier to make money via Patreon, via YouTube, via Twitch, via content that you can just create with a microphone and two of your friends, than in games like that, more than having their own structured salaried tournaments, because it's cheaper.
It's way cheaper.
Yeah, we do this for free. Like LSS doesn't pay us any money, right? You average listener, patreon.com/flushandpod. Like you dear listener, what was that? Was that like when you spin the records backward? You hear subliminal messaging?
Yes, you said Satan fucked my dog, and it never mind. I'm not going to keep going on that.
Yeah,
flush and blood. Yeah. So that was funny in my head.
Well, it's not what
LSS doesn't pay us, right? We get a little bit of a kickback because of the generosity of listeners. So LSS gets all this free exposure. People that know us, that listen to the show, and then become Flesh and Blood players because of it, which happens. That's free advertising for LSS, and it hurts my little soul. It hurts it so much. I think we do it.
I think it hurts me more when I find out that, like, not only did we make a Flesh and Blood player, but we made another content creator. Because, like, no.
Oh, yeah.
We made another free advertising mechanism. Motherfucker.
Yeah, we're the nexus of how many podcasts. That'd be a fascinating thing to, no, stop. To go back to the tree of, like, who's all of our shared content creator. For me, it's Matt DeMarco is probably the first person I found.
My wife spends a lot of time with these various communities for, like, a variety of different things, and she's always talking about people gunning to become moderators, and I'm like, is that a paid position? Every time she's like, no. And I'm like, so people are willingly like jamming as hard as they can to become free fucking labor? No.
Listen, if we ever DM you to moderate the Flesh and Pod Discord, Logan's joking. It's an honorable title. No, I'm with you, right? Like the concept of that is but we do it because we like it. And so I think though that the end game, if someone wants to monetize this hobby, is to get into the industry surrounding the games themselves as opposed to the actual game. Now, this doesn't apply to things like League of Legends, Overwatch, things like that. Like the pro player thing is like alive and well, and there's so much sponsorship money in that. TCGs have always kind of just been this weird exception because of the barrier to entry for the average viewer. So we're in a unique space. So don't hear that like being a professional gamer is dead. Any more than you would, I guess, hear that being a professional athlete is dead. It's just that like the TCGs operate in such a unique market. Now, the second half of her question was, what would determine someone being a pro player in a TCG versus competitive enthusiast, successful grinder, spike, etc.? That to me is almost more interesting because you and I, Logan, identify as competitive enthusiasts,
competitive hobbyists.
Hobbyists. Sure. I think for the purpose of this question, those are interchangeable. We're not. I wouldn't consider myself a successful grinder. LOL. I know them like via Dagan or Travis McDaniel or Michael Hamilton. Fortunate enough to be friends with them, but like
Beat the Bow, yeah,
right. Like we know these people. We like these people, but we're not them. Spike is such a generic catch-all term where, but I guess if you could define Spike as someone that regularly tests for events. We're not that.
I think spike is a min-maxing term in this case.
Then I think we would fall into that, right?
We start to. We are spikier than we want to admit.
Sure. Well, so I don't mind. I don't think of min-maxing as a bad term. Then again, like, and maybe we're just in so many different parts of this Venn diagram that it's hard to pin ourselves down. But like, I'm going to play the best version of whatever deck I want to bring. But sometimes I'll bring a deck that I want to play that I know isn't positioned well. For example, Viserai is fine, serviceable, not the best deck you could be playing.
Right. But we don't. I guess where I was going with that is we don't min max as a lifestyle. And when it comes down to
sure.
grinders, they min-max as a lifestyle.
Like their lives are built around the concept of testing for the next event sort of deal.
That plus like even just like things like going to dinner is a min-max proposal.
Sure.
Like enjoying the time around people. It's like,
there's a tournament tomorrow and like
right,
sure.
And stuff like that. And then so there's an entire level, there's an entire extra discussion about grinder mentality and what that actually entitles, and then how everything fits under that umbrella. Again, I think you're absolutely right when you talk about it as a Venn diagram, and where people fit into that Venn diagram, because there's a lot of overlap. But it's how big are those circles, and how much overlap is there becomes another fairly interesting and intriguing discussion when you use some of those extra labels. Now, I hate labels. Kierkegaard said, who is and has a channel in our Discord, when you label me, you negate
once
me.
In a while.
Every now and again. When you label me, you negate me.
Sure.
And so there is something about associating a personality with a label that also has a lot of just kind of a negative connotation with me as well. So some of these are like very hard questions to answer, because association versus labeling are two different things too. So
yeah, that's fair. And I think you make an interesting point that if someone said, hey, Jordan's very spiky, I might be offended by that, but maybe I also don't know what they would mean. Because there's sort of a joke with some local guys that they know how much I hate losing. Like we'll play like 5 games of Blitz or something. There's a local guy that I'm thinking of right now. We played like 5 games of Blitz and I lost one. We were like 3 or 4 deep and I lost one. And I didn't remember the ones that I won. I was like, man, I've lost every fucking game. And he was like, no, we've split them. We've split them. And I was like, oh God, I blacked out for the good parts, you know? So like, you know, but that's how I approach like a lot of things in like life. And like, is that negative? Is that bad? Probably. But like, and that's why I wouldn't like it if someone identified me as spiky, because I was like, I don't like that reflective light on myself and seeing like what that is. This question is very good because it asks a big economic question of like the pro scene in TCGs. And I think people overestimate how real that dream was for how many people. It was not many people that were living off of cards.
Yeah, and the window to do that was way smaller than people think.
Yes. I think people missed the fact that the people they're thinking of were like 12 deep in a Red Roof Inn, like, you know, 6 deep in an apartment eating ramen noodles every day.
You're sleeping on the floor of the Best Western, man.
Like,
it is.
And like, hey, I've been there, right? I'm not trying to disparage the economically disproportioned in our society. Like, don't hear me wrong. But when you ask about whether or not that this is a economically viable position, it is. Whether it has been or not is a much more interesting question. Yeah, because there's for every Taylor Swift, there's the kid that's on the corner in Nashville.
Yeah, right. You know? But the other part of that is like, so one of the, and I'm just as a story, to kind of illustrate the point, one of the best Magic players I ever knew. This is not somebody that you know, that lived in Iowa. I went I wouldn't travel with them a ton, but I remember traveling to a PTQ in Wichita, Kansas. So we went early because it's a very long ways from Iowa. And this is back in the days where you traveled for PTQs. This is what you did.
Yeah. They were within 10 hours. You were there.
You were there. Yeah. And God, that's, and so there was 2 cars of us. There was 8 of us. We crammed into one hotel room. We ran this entire thing. And I remember getting back the next night, and I had ridden with this guy. And again, this is at one point in time was a top 10 Magic player in the world. And we get back, and he's like, so gas is $15 and 68 cents per person, or, you know, whatever the arbitrary number is. And I'm like, okay, well, here's $15. And he's like, okay, so you're just going to get me that 68 cents later then? And I'm like,
yeah.
What? Wait.
Right. And like,
here's $1. Shut the fuck up.
Yeah. Add to my tab. I don't know. Like, yeah. And that's what it was. Right. And, you know, it's funny. And a guy that you know, I won't say his name on here, but we were talking about this at SCG Columbus, the most recent Battle Hardened, about how interesting that was from people that, I mean, guys our age and up will remember very famous card players that
Mm-hmm.
you would have thought these guys are pros, like this is their lifestyle, and it wasn't really a life. You know, people would go, "Oh, well, I went to
Mhm.
Charlotte this weekend." Well, like, really, what you did is you went to the inside of a convention center in Charlotte, you know,
Right.
and you went to your
Right.
hotel and ate like, you know, your McDonald value meal because like you're at a negative EV event. Basically, all I'm saying, like, the economic viability of being a pro, like Logan mentioned, is a much smaller window than anybody ever thought, and to my point, a lot less people ever achieved it than you ever thought. You just only happen to hear about the successes and don't see the actual lives of the people at the tournament.
Yep.
So there are other avenues for you, or anybody else that's thinking, "Hey, look, there's a lot of money in Fab. How do I get into that?" So
There you go.
that's that.
Question number 2 is from Girdlemaster. What would each hero's preferred mode of transportation be in our world? We are on Monarch this week. Jordan, your heroes are Sir Bolton, Prism, Levia, and Chain.
Then we did these last week.
Did we do these last week? Because I
We
had
did
crew
Monarch
on the sheet last week.
I thought we did
Oh,
Monarch already 2 weeks
We've
ago.
done Monarch and crew already, so we have
Tales of Arya.
Tales of Arya is next. Oh, I'm sorry. Okay.
Wow. Jeez. Can't even get updated
Nice show
notes.
notes, ass.
Jeez.
Fucking unpaid labor over here. This is what
So
you get.
What does Briar take? Briar, Oldham, and
Lexi.
Lexi?
It's Lexi.
God,
I knew that one.
Yeah.
still tired.
Oldham is a bobsled.
Oh, okay, sure.
Oh, I was gonna say like one of the sleds with like the Huskies.
That's a bobsled.
That's Abigail.
It's a bobsled. Oh, I think of bobsled. I think of like the Olympics. Like
Oh, sure. Yeah.
that's what I think of for a bobsled.
Okay.
You know what? Look, we might be wrong.
Maybe right on this one. Wrong. I
Yeah,
think I
you're
did a
thinking
rod.
of, like,
I was
the-
thinking I
the-
did a rod. Yeah.
What are those called? I did a rod. Is it? They're just literally called sled.
Trail sled dog race.
Yeah, so dog sleds. Okay, I'm with you, Logan. I
Sled
either have him
dog
in like
race.
I either have him in like a. So they're dog sleds. Okay, so I have him either in one of those or in a sleigh. And Abby, apologies. Fair enough.
Yeah, that's where I was at too. We are on the same page.
We all are on the same page. Just Abby's the only one who knew that they weren't called bobsleds. Fuck.
Yes.
Yes.
Briar. Has to be something eco-friendly, right?
Yeah, I was thinking like hot air balloon. To be honest, that was kind of my first thought.
I was thinking because I think Lexi's in like a
Scooter?
Tesla.
like an electric
but-
scooter.
Yeah, maybe like a smart car.
Okay,
Something
Okay.
tiny,
sure.
Yeah.
economical.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Can't really run
Yeah,
through anything, but can run into stuff. I don't know.
yeah, that's fair. And then Lexi, I think Tesla is very good.
Question number 3 is from May. What American sports teams would each hero be a diehard fan for?
Oldham is
Lex-
the head coach of the Kansas City Chiefs.
He
so,
is Andy Reid.
yeah.
Lexi loves the Tampa Bay Lightning.
Okay, that's a good one.
Um,
That's a good one. Briar strikes me as a sports ball sayer. Maybe she's like a soccer fan. Maybe she's like a Seattle Sounders fan or something. Like, I don't know. She's not gritty enough to be
Yeah.
like a Midwest soccer fan.
You would
like-
know.
yeah. Like I was
Yeah.
gonna give her Columbus Crew because, like, you know, that's my life. But she's not gritty enough for that. I don't think
No.
she has like.
Maybe
she has
she's a
kind of-
cricket fan.
Well, the question does ask
Oh, yeah,
American
North
sports,
American.
so
American.
but yeah, no, or else I would have used like a Mumbai Indians reference like weeks ago.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah,
That's my-
Ab, you have a mystery question on here.
I do have a mystery question. Okay, hold on. Let me pull up my notepad on my phone. This was hot off the presses at the event. I promised May that I would write it down and not forget. So, May, this one's for you. Jordan, this question is directed to you.
Okay.
Are you ready?
Yep.
Okay. May would like you to explain why Skyline Chili is better than Gold Star.
What a bitch. Okay. Well, May, here's the thing. I was in the middle of this deep rant about, for people that don't know. Okay, God, I'm so flustered. I'm so angry. People that don't know, Skyline chili is the thing we talked about at the top of the show. It's a noodle with chili and with cheese on it. The chili isn't what you think it is.
It's a bolognese.
Yeah. It's a very unique thing. It's based in Cincinnati. Okay. There is a competitor to Skyline called Gold Star, and Gold Star makes a very similar styled thing. Okay. The debate is like, which one is better, Skyline or Gold Star? People are very heavily drawn on this issue. Think like In-N-Out, and what's the other burger place? Like Shake Shack, In-N-Out.
Shake Shack, In-N-Out.
People debate these burger joints, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So like, and they get contested. The difference between the Shake Shack, In-N-Out debate is that like those are just subjective discussions. The problem with this debate is that if you like Gold Star, you're objectively wrong. You're just gross. And like, can I explain why the one is better? Yeah, have you tasted it? Oh my god! Like the like the way that the way the chemicals in the food interact with your taste bud receptors. That's how I can explain it to you. One of them is disgusting. The other is the nectar of literal Christ himself. Okay, like that's the difference.
We've had a lot of discussion about Christ nectar today. You sure we want to use that analogy?
We've talked about it too much, and that's not a recorded bit, so they're not going to know what we're talking about. But just know that this isn't the first time Christ's nectar has been referenced.
Think them asking later is going to amuse me enough to put it into the show.
Yeah, God bless. Well, so
does it?
May, here's the deal. I'm going to Google Gold Star right now. Okay, I'm going to Google Gold Star. Well, first of all, a picture of a Gold Star comes up. That's how you know. That's the first thing you need to know. The first result isn't even Gold Star chili. It's Gold Star Jewelers. Let's Google Skyline. Okay.
You'll see a Skyline. You won't see Skyline chili.
You will see Skyline chili. Local restaurants near me.
Let's go.
Skyline chili. Skyline chili.
I'm in
Let's
Iowa,
consider
so
Skyline chili. What's that? Yeah, that'd be funny actually.
Nope, that comes up. 912 million results in 0.92 seconds. Skyline chili first on the top.
That's the first way I know, May. Let's do this. These are all blind, by the way. I didn't know this question until Abby just asked it. And here's the thing. May had apologized to me for her insolence at the tournament. She said, wow, I think I was, can we let bygones be bygones? And then this shit came up. May? Anyway, let's look at the reviews. Let's just pick the nearest Skyline near me and the nearest Gold Star near me and look at their reviews. Okay. Well, first of all, I have to go down a result because the nearest Gold Star by me is a Gold Star Jewelry because they're not even that cool. All right. The nearest Skyline by me has 911 reviews. Okay. 4.4 stars. That's pretty good. Nearest Gold Star, 793 reviews. Also 4.4 stars, but with 200 less sample size. This one goes to Skyline Chili. The people agree, May. As a lover of democracy, my vote is my birthright, and the people have voted, and the chemicals in the food have interacted with their taste buds, and they've said, "Oh my God, Gold Star is shit." Skyline Chili is the best. I'll hear no counter arguments. Can you block someone from giving you money on Patreon? I'm not going to do that.
Do that?
Yeah.
Do you know what Skyline that buys?
For anybody that doesn't, May and I have already done this in person. Like, I didn't know she was going to ask this question. This is offensive to me on a personal level, but we've already done this bit, so she knows that I'm not like actually going to just disown her. I might actually. I don't fucking know. Delete your account. That's right.
Please don't.
Please don't delete your account. Actually,
yeah, please don't delete your account.
All right. Jeez. There you go, May.
That's where I'm at.
I'm sorry that you were subjected to that, but it is what it is.
What, that she was subjected?
She asked for it.
Subjected? Oh my God! I'm sorry that I. Oh.
Okay.
Like normally that line of dialogue is offensive to me on a lot of levels, but in this case,
keep in mind, folks, Abby didn't put Dagon first in the cosplay contest, so how could one trust her judgment? God.
Here we go. All right.
That's what the pros call full circle.
And terrible logic.
Yeah. So let's do our shout out to our Patreons. Executive producer and up, we have May, who you just shat on for like 10 minutes.
10 minutes, yeah, 10 minutes of fuck May.
May, not everybody on the show feels that way. This
does not reflect the opinions of Flesh and Pod or its subsidiaries or vendors.
We
They're not
have.
gonna be our vendors anymore if they had that opinion.
Oh
Let's
my
just be
god.
clear.
Okay,
Holy
we
shit.
have.
I'm gonna
May-
Adidas to Kanye them if
Excuse you. I'm talking here. Jeez. All right.
Toxic masculinity.
I know. We have May, Philip, Taylor, Ed, Josh, Kenny, Nick, Teague, Ben, Corey, Alan, and Michael. If you are interested in joining our Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/flushandpod. We have 4 tiers and it breaks out what each one gets. So please take a look. As always, you can find us on Twitter at FlushPod. You can join our Discord. The link will be in the show notes. You can give us a 5-star review on Apple or Spotify. You can like and subscribe on YouTube. You can shoot us an email at flushandpod@gmail.com. My personal Twitter is at AbbyD83. I honest to God tweeted more this weekend than I ever have. There was a lot going on. A lot of fun stuff over there. A bunch of it's been Flesh and Blood, which is cool. There's also the greatest love note I've ever received. There's a picture of that on my Twitter. So if you're interested in reading it, go take a look.
It is something else. Like that is very true. And now that I have my platform, you can find me at Logan Peterson on Twitter. You can also find me in our Discord. Link will be in the show notes. A big shout out to everybody that came out to the event this weekend. I had a lot of fun. I was, we walk away from these things, and I know that Jordan alluded to this on Twitter. I've talked about it before, where the event, our hearts are so full at the end of these things that like the event depression hits a little bit differently. It hits pretty hard sometimes, but know that is not an indictment of these events or anything else. It's how much we love doing it, because the people involved are so much fucking fun to do it with. And whether that's team drafting Arcane Rising, where Brendan Patrick forgot that he was team drafting and passed me an induction chamber, that was not smart. That made me then I fatigued Charmer. Also, side note, if it's an Azalea mirror, they can draw when neither of us have enough cards to advance the game state.
What?
That was Flake versus Abby. Fantastic.
That was really funny. Abby was way behind, and the match
I was
way
wait,
behind.
for sure.
I can't attack
I can't
anymore.
win. I don't have a weapon, and I only have this one card in my hand. It's like, what happens then? Jordan looks at me, he's like, that's a draw, right? I'm like, if neither player can advance the game state, that's a draw.
What a day.
Yeah, it'd been all right. So our team went, the matches made it so that it was 4-4-1. Straight up draw. Great. Or if Keith Bartram, who is a madman and also Heart of Gold, one of the greatest humans ever, decides to like, I want to give people a chance to own some crew first cards. So I'm going to open packs and I'm going to split them in half, and people can keep the cards out of the half face down, and I'll keep the other half and it'll be fine. And then somebody goes, or we could rip them. Guess what, people? We can rip them. And we do rip them.
It was the sauce.
And sometimes when you rip them, the cold foil Sledge of Amblheim gets ripped. Shit happens.
You
should have been paying attention.
I go to lunch with my dad every Friday or every week, right? Today we went to lunch
Yeah.
together, and I was explaining Flip It or Rip It to him, and he was like, "Why is that fun?" And I was like, "Well, imagine I put in $100 bill in one envelope, and then a $1 bill in another envelope. Told you rip one in half, you get to keep the other one." He goes, "Holy shit!" He goes, "But why would you put them in the envelope?" I was like, "Because I love the rush, baby."
Rush, yeah, that's all it is. There were so many bad decisions that were good decisions that were bad decisions made this weekend. Another friend of ours, Nathan Benny, decides that he tries to play Lexi. He's like, "Fuck Lexi, I'm not playing her anymore." Then proceeds to trade almost all of his crew first cards in for a gold foil Voltaire. Never playing Lexi again. Give me that bow. Right. Yeah, that makes sense. What the fuck? I was on such good terms with the people serving booze at the after party that they stopped asking me what I wanted, and the one girl got really good at throwing me the beers when I walked in the door, and I just had to get in the door, turn around, and walk away. I never had to make it to them. We would, if you want to experience this level of degeneracy, just pay attention, because when the Bartrams are involved and the community is involved that's around them and us and all the content creators that were involved, you get up to some shit. And it's the kind of thing that makes it so that these people that you kind of don't know are suddenly friends for life. So please show up. I mean, this was great. There was 136 players. There was the team sealed had 25 teams. The speakeasy was full and people were drafting, people were drinking. The dinner was great. Mara was there doing altars and she was busy as shit all weekend, just doing crazy looking stuff for people. There's a Lexi that I hope she posts a photo of in our Discord because it is fucking great. There was just so much going on that there's just be a part of it. It's so fucking fun. And I want everybody else to experience that same kind of fun too. Jordan, you're last up, baby.
Yeah, no, similar deal. Find me on Twitter at ImJorman, IMJRMAN. Discord DMs are open to anybody I share a Discord with, so it's good to get a hold of me in there. Playing a lot of Marvel Snap lately.
Oh,
so
tons! Holy shit!
Yeah,
What
game's
collection
fun
are you
shit.
at? Hold on, where am I?
I am intentionally stopped at 214 to not go to pool 2.
Oh, is that
so-
what happens? Is that
I'm
what?
at-
Yeah. Once
I'm
you
at,
hit
like-
215,
Oh,
you play against people
no.
with access to more cards. Brendan explained it to me this weekend. It's so those
Oh
are
no!
the other numbers in the 400s. So
I'm
like
at 225. That explains
Okay.
a lot of what I'm seeing now.
why there's a lot more cards that you just don't have access to. Yeah. So basically, like, yeah, I'll tell you later.
Oops.
Yeah. But I play a lot of Marvel Snap. Cricket World Cup's going on, so I'm watching those. Generally, like a very good vibe going on Twitter, sports, Flesh and Blood. Come check it out, man. Like Logan said, this is the time to be. It's the time to be around. You're at the beginning. You're here at the beginning, so we'd love to meet people and hang out. So
Also, a bone to pick with Dagan and John Patty. These motherfuckers
Oh, God.
are in my car.
to be
For like
clear,
12
these guys you rode with them, right?
Yes, for 12
Okay.
hours. And all they're doing the entire time is rubbing in my face that they get to play Marvel Snap while I'm driving. Just hearing them talk about shit the whole time. And the only justice in the world is that it was, as Dagan was trying to get into Platinum, he ran into Ego. Have you seen Ego yet? Ego is a location in the game. When it's revealed, Ego plays the game for you.
Oh,
Oh.
And Ego's really fucking bad at Marvel Snap.
I would imagine.
And Dagan lost 8. So,
Oh,
that was
because does it
justice.
snap for you and stuff too?
oh no, Dagan snaps on turn 0.
Oh, that is his thing. Yeah, that is
Yeah.
his thing. Yeah, which there is some discrepancy in the community about whether that's optimal or not, which is fun. But not a Marvel Snap Pod, but you should play it. It's free and it's
It
very
could be.
generous. It's very generous for free to play players as well. So, yeah, that's it for me anyway.
There you go. That is all that we have for this week, and we will talk to you next week. Bye.